It's Kevin Keatsman Uncanceled on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. I'm Kevin Keatsman in the hot seat for an hour leading you up to the Vince Show. And we have quite a show today, a couple of giant topics. The first, the death of former Kansas City and Renee Good, who was killed in Minneapolis yesterday after she was leading a blockade of ICE agents on the slippery streets of Minneapolis. We're going to spend a good deal of time right here at the start of the show on that. I've got a completely different take and new information for you on how this all went down and what the important thing is going forward. So stick around for that. Then at 10:30, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Royals and why I am now ready to I haven't told Patrick Tuohy yet. I'm now ready to bet Patrick Tuohy that both the Chiefs and Royals will be in Kansas, that it's done. And they will both be there. I strongly believe that. I'm not reporting that. I'm putting the piece. I'm adding the math and putting it together. As we have learned that Clay County Commissioner Jason Withington has said all negotiation with the Royals is over, and it is, quote, a closed chapter in Clay County, at least for the Clay County folks. The only saving grace they have in Missouri now is the state of Missouri. That's pretty clear. We'll wait a half an hour and get to that. We'll also check in with Mark at the end of the show. We got a lot of great things to talk about, including a family affair in an NFL game this week. A player's sister is cheering for the other team. We'll explain why. But we start with the only story anybody is talking about, and that is the death of Renee Good, who is, and I'm just warning you, what you're about to hear the next 10 minutes, you just won't hear from anybody else. I'm just going to say it because I don't care. I'm past caring with these clowns and the stupid things that they do and the stupid games that they play, okay? And I am sick of the reason why they do it is because they've got such mind-bending leaders who fool them into doing these things. Do not doubt for a second there are people at the very top of the Democrat Party in this country that are thrilled that Renee Good has become their martyr. She was a useful idiot yesterday who went out and did exactly what they want their people to do. I'm not saying they want people to die. They probably would have been thrilled if she just got wounded and was okay and they could do sad videos of her, that she was shot in the shoulder or something like that, any of that. This is why they send these people out in the streets, not to protest, and that's not what this was. We are going off media reports today. There's one quote that came out of yesterday. Forget the idiot mayor and what he said. Forget Trump's post. Forget Kristi Noem. Forget it all. Here's the only quote that matters, and this is in the Mirror online. This is from witnesses at the scene who claim that Renee Good's wife was there. She was filming the whole thing out of the car. They were making videos to go viral. This was a stunt. And the grieving, screaming, crying woman who ran after her dead wife in the car was sitting on the curb grieving, and witnesses say, quote, the woman said, quote, "It's my fault. I made her come here," unquote. There's your story. That's the story of Renee Good. A lesbian couple from Waldo with a car registered in Kansas City and a KC Current bumper sticker on them is the most stereotypical liberal protest thing you could ever have. You want to describe two women protesting at something liberal, progressive, you just nailed it. Stereotypes exist for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. People make fun of middle-aged white guys all the time. Dad bod jokes. Get off my lawn. I hear them all the time. I think they're funny. I think they're clever. My kids make fun of me. Pete Mundo makes fun of my generation all the time. The older white guys. Great. Awesome. I can take it. Stereotypes exist for a reason because a lot of people my age, like me, are a lot like me. And a lot of lesbian couples are really political and into this stuff. And this lady that survived, the spouse that survived, told bystanders, weeping, sobbing, "I had just dropped off my 6-year-old child at school and we came here." They had Renee had a couple of others, it sounds like. 3 children total, it's been reported, but certainly they dropped off a 6-year-old yesterday. Let me just step back for a second about what happened and think about the type of person, the type of couple, okay, that drops off their 6-year-old and then says, let's go down there and lead a blockade in the name of and in the honor of Somalian criminals who are stealing billions of tax dollars from American citizens doing corrupt, illegal things in Minneapolis. Let's put those people ahead of our children. At the very least, these 2 women knew that what they were about to do by running up and down the street blockading ICE. There's another report. Witnesses say there were multiple cars, and Renee Good was leading this blockade. She was out in front. And once she got in front, she put it in park right in the middle of the street. They had been hassling with her for a while before anything this occurred. They didn't just stumble upon a woman parked in the street. That's not what happened, according to witnesses. This was a parade blockade, and they were messing with ICE. It was their stated goal. These women had to know when they did this, at the very least, they could get arrested and go to jail and spend the night and not be with their children. Perhaps that explains why one spouse was out of the car, apparently not committing a crime. You know what I'm ready to do? If these reports are all true, I'm ready to charge the surviving spouse with a crime as an accomplice to this, because she was filming it. The single most important piece of evidence for the federal government in defending the ICE agent, when certainly the lawsuits and the trials are coming, is going to be the surviving spouse's phone. What had she videotaped? What had happened prior to that? Everything that her dead spouse did is apparently on that phone. I don't want to say this was a stunt. I don't know if these women thought they were going to become journalists. I don't think that maybe they thought they were going to be Nick Shirley. There's a whole bunch of people on the left upset that Nick Shirley went and made these videos of all this Somalian fraud, and it got hundreds of millions of hits on the internet and went crazy. This sounds like it was 2 women who said, well, if Nick Shirley can do that, we can do it. Sweetie, you take the car and you jack with ICE. You mess with them any way you can. You blockade. We'll get other people to follow us. We'll come down here. Let's drop the kids off, and then let's go raise a little hell and mess with ICE. Good plan, Mom. Or Dad. Nice plan. Drop your kids off and go do this. Maybe we'll both get arrested. Maybe we'll be in the jail for a night. Maybe somebody will take care of our kids. I don't know. When we get to a point in this country where parents of children decide that interfering with federal agents doing their work in the name of Somali immigrants who are stealing billions of dollars from taxpayers and clearly are going to be prosecuted, arrested, and go to jail, and the politicians at the top of the food chain in said community, like Jacob Fry, the mayor, and Tim Walz, the governor, are pushing for this. Resist. Respond, protest, don't stand for it. Stand up. Be in the battle. All these things that they say. And you get that in your head, and you follow that, and you go do this, and you're thinking about those Somalis and politics and your governor and maybe your sexuality over your children. You are mentally sick. You have a huge problem as a human being in this society. That is not the way our society works. Our society works with the nuclear family, and they wanted to have their own nuclear family. 2 parents, children, the whole thing. Great. We allow that in this country. It's fine. Your entire commitment is to those children, not to Somali immigrants. Folks, this wasn't about illegal immigration. This was about the fraud. They sent more agents in because of the fraud. They're closing down buildings. They're going in. They're raiding these places, getting files, and learning how all this was done. This is white-collar crime they're investigating. Yes, there are Somalians doing it. There were politicians that pushed it all. This is billions of dollars of white-collar crime, and it's not just Minneapolis. It's going to be everywhere. And we've got a woman dead because of it. And we have, according to a report in the Mirror, the spouse on the curb sobbing, "It's my fault. I made her come here." If you made her come here, this was your decision, I'm going to video this. You're going to drive around and hassle ICE. We'll let you get arrested, and I'll video the whole thing, and then I'll still be available to go pick up the kids from school later. That was the plan? What the hell was your plan? Look, I could sit here and do what we've all done. We could talk about the video that we've seen. Clearly, the officer that fired the shots got hit by the car. That's not in question. Did he get hit hard and knocked down? No. There are reports of someone leaking, I think within ICE or the federal government, there's been a report that the man who fired the shots, the agent that fired the shots, was also hit by a car last year in a similar situation. No, this one needs time. It needs facts. It doesn't need this instant reaction of that mayor saying, get the F out of Minneapolis. This is all wrong. We don't have a polarized country, ladies and gentlemen. This is not Democrat versus Republican. This case is one simple thing. If you're an American citizen, there's only two choices here. You either think cops are good or cops are bad. And we know what polling shows on that. Like 20-some% of the people think cops are bad. The overwhelming majority of Americans support law enforcement and will continue to, regardless of this story. I heard Pete say earlier today, those neck shots that were fired through the side window. Yeah, I get it. I looked at the same thing. I thought, wow, he's going to keep shooting. Well, he didn't know if he hit her. The handbook says people are in danger. You've got somebody you're apprehending and they're fleeing. They're in danger. You have every right to do this. That's what the handbook says. I'm not in that moment. There's no chance today you're going to hear me say anything critical of this officer. This is not going to happen. Not from what I've seen, not from what I've heard. And not when you know this is orchestrated. And I'm not saying she asked to get shot, but she definitely asked for trouble from ICE. Anybody listening right now, simple question. We've all been pulled over by the police, correct? Speeding ticket, didn't turn my blinker on. Heck, we probably got plenty of people that have had DUIs. You might have been in some real trouble with the law and been pulled over. Expired tags, there's a lot of reasons. I'm going to guess everybody listening right now, unless you're really young, at some point you got pulled over. Did you resist that officer and drive away? Simple question. Did you do it? Renee Good was a criminal. And here's the word they're using on the left. This is the new word. You're going to need to know this term. It might be the most important thing you hear today. You're going to hear this 1,000 times. They're now referring to their soldiers on the ground, these crazy people that they convinced to go do this stuff, as, quote, legal observers. You know what Renee Good was not? She was not a legal observer. She was a criminal. She committed multiple crimes yesterday before being shot and killed. Multiple. And those crimes weren't murder or rape or the things that we think of. They weren't. But she definitely weaponized her car. She was fleeing the scene. She was resisting arrest. She was blockading ICE. My God, that's 4 charges right there. She was a criminal. She is not a legal observer. She was an absolute law-breaking criminal. She may have no history. There may be nothing in her past. But she went there with the stated goal of being a criminal yesterday. Period. Full stop. That's it. Sorry, Renee Good, you lost your life. If you stayed home, you'd be alive. If you didn't set out yesterday to go be a criminal, trying to stop federal agents from doing their legal job, you would be alive. This is the lowest bar of society. Guess what I'm not doing today? I am not going anywhere to stop any police officer or federal agent from doing their job. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm going to live my life. You live yours. If you choose to go stop federal agents in your spare time while your children are in school, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I'm sorry. I'm done with these people. There's something wrong with me. I'm a Christian man. I think I'm a good person. I treat people with respect. I'm nice to everybody that wants to be nice to me. I just don't have it in my heart for people who set out to go commit crimes that wind up with a bad outcome. When you set out to be a criminal, bad things are going to happen. 913-408-7957. Tell me I'm terrible. I'll listen next on Uncanceled. As Andy Reid likes to say, the time's yours. So we're going to the phones on this big story everybody is talking about. We start today with Walter in Spring Hill. Good morning, Walter. You're on KCMO.
Morning, Kevin. This shooting, I'm surprised it hasn't happened before now because I, like you, I'm sick and tired of these people. And to me, anytime you pick up a brick and start throwing it, that is assault with a deadly weapon. I'm surprised someone hasn't been shot for that. And I think they well should be.
If I stand, they've been throwing snowballs at him. Great call, Walter. They've been throwing snowballs at him like crazy, and they don't do anything about it. They just stand there and kind of take it. If I stood on my lawn in Lenexa when we get snow and threw snowballs at a cop standing in my cul-de-sac, I would be cited. I don't know that they'd haul me into jail. Something bad would happen to me. I'd have a fine, maybe community service. I don't know what, but it would be public record. You can't do it. You just can't do this stuff. They already let them get away with stuff that's illegal, and maybe that's the problem. Maybe we let them get away with illegal stuff, and so then they decide, well, I'm just going to take my car and go start some sort of a blockade. It's crazy what's allowed. Let's go to Brett in St. Joe on Uncanceled. Hi, Brett. How are you today?
Hey, Kevin. How are you doing today?
Great. Thank you.
Hey, I'm a retired police officer. I wanted to weigh in a little bit. I heard Pete talking about it this morning quite a bit about the multiple shots and shooting from the side of the car.
Mm-hmm.
That goes back to muscle memory. Officers are trained. When we do training, we're not trained to fire one time. We're trained usually 2 and 3 shots at a time. So when you're in a stressful situation like that, your muscle memory kicks in. And that officer, I bet if truth was known, he probably doesn't even know how many shots he's fired.
Right.
Initially, it was training kicked in, and he started firing, and he fired probably 2 to 3 shots just out of muscle memory.
I believe every word you say, and I wish everybody in our country believed every word you say because it's absolute fact.
Yeah. I mean, he was moving on. If you watch him, he's moving off target. He's moving off the X is what they call it. He's moving himself away from the threat while firing at the threat, and it's just 100% muscle memory. And, you know, I saw it too, and initially I knew right away. I was like, there's people question that, but that's what it is.
Great call.
100%.
Thank you, sir. Right. You sound like you were a great officer, man. I can't thank you enough. Incredible. Love people like Brett. Awesome. Trevor's in Shawnee. He wants to talk about this. Hi, Trevor. Trevor, what's up?
Hi, Kevin.
Hey.
So I am a person who has been on both sides of the law. I'm a person who knows that you don't always have to do what the police tell you to do, and sometimes they tell you to do things you don't have to do. But let me tell you something. In a situation like this woman was in, where you got mayhem going on all around you, if I'm there protesting for one reason or another, I'm going to do what the police tell me to do because I don't want to get shot. And for me, looking at this video, of course she shouldn't have been doing what she was doing. But for goodness sakes, once that cop grabbed her handle on the car, at that point,
get out! At that point, get out!
It was ridiculous.
Get out of the car.
Just stop. If that had been me, I would have thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to kill this guy hanging on to my door handle, and I don't want that to happen. So to me, I largely agree with what you're saying. And I just wonder what the caliber and the tone of the conversation would be like had she succeeded in running over that cop.
Oh, boy. I don't even want to think about it. Great call, Trevor. Thank you, sir. Look, it's real simple. I don't remember the story of somebody complying with what an officer asked them to do to get out of a car that got shot. Like, if she got out of the car, you still think that ICE agent woke up and thought, I'm just going to go kill somebody today. Come on. Get over yourself. People are crazy, some of these people think. Just do what they're asking you to do. Jeff is in Shawnee on Uncanceled. This is KCMO Talk Radio. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, great calls. Hey, as a child, I got pulled over by the cops with my dad. Well, my dad was driving. And he walked through me the whole thing on how do you treat a cop. He goes, son, a cop can make you or break you. He goes, always treat a cop with respect because the outcome might be in your favor. Treat them with respect, treat people with respect. And I always said, you treat 2 people in your life with respect, the policeman and the person cooking your dinner, because they can make or break you. So have respect for these cops, man. I mean, it's just an upbringing. I figure this lady's 30-something years old. Maybe that's the generation that everybody won a trophy. Everybody got their way. We got a generation of those people.
Well,
But, hey, great show, great calls.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that, man. Thank you for listening to KCMO Talk Radio. The important thing to know here is the decision that she made to run at the cop while one ICE agent had his arm inside the window. That's what really freaked her out, is when he reached in to grab her because he was going to extract her from the car. And it was apparently either not in park or she slammed it down into drive and took off, whatever the case may be. The important thing to remember is you shouldn't be surprised that she would do that to these officers. She went there with the intent to mess with the officers. Do you understand the intent of her day yesterday? Drop the kids off at school and go jack with ICE. I'm going to block their asses from doing their job. That was her intent. I'm sorry. I don't feel sorry for people when bad things happen when you're trying to stop law enforcement officers. Why the Royals are staying in Kansas, next on KCMO. Okay, we've got a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of stories related to sports here in the news. I don't know how much Pete talked today about Rashee Rice and the trouble he's in. Again, the Chiefs receiver. I won't spend much time on this. The club is aware. They're giving no comment. They're turning it over to the NFL. His former girlfriend, Dakota Nicole, who apparently, she claims, left here in Kansas and one time locked her out in 10-degree cold, has been with her. She was with him for like 8 years. Maybe there's some babies involved. She was pregnant. She posted 14 photos of physical abuse that she claims Rashee Rice did to her. He's commenting on social media to bring it on that he didn't do any of it. I don't know what happened. I got to think the Chiefs are worn out and exhausted by Rashee Rice. I'm ready. This is the year they're remaking the roster. I'm ready for Rashee Rice to be gone. Even if it's just hanging around crazy people posting pictures. We don't need this distraction. No. You've already committed a crime. Now you're distracting again in the offseason. No. Did you know Salvador Perez was in Venezuela when Trump took Maduro, when Trump extracted Maduro? Salvi was there. Michael Garcia was there. Salvador Perez is the team captain of the Venezuelan team in the World Baseball Classic coming up in just a few weeks. So he's been in Venezuela with his Venezuelan teammates practicing for that. He doesn't spend much time there anymore. He's a Kansas City and through, and his whole family's here. But he was there when it happened. The Royals said a couple of days ago, everybody's okay, whatever, but they didn't really give a bunch of detail. Well, one of the details was Salvi's there. He is the team captain for Team Venezuela, and they would be an absolute contender to win the whole thing. So that's actually pretty cool that they asked him to do that, and we're glad that Salvi's doing fine there. The bigger news with the Royals is what's going on with the stadium. I can't believe how much confusion and interpretation there is from so many people out there on what they think is going on. And maybe you'll hear mine and think I'm confused and my interpretation's wrong, but I'm gonna make a case for what I believe. My instincts on these things are usually pretty good. Okay, this is just from the stories, the things that we know, the things that have happened. I've got a lot of people now thinking the Royals are staying where they are. The Royals have said emphatically they are building a new stadium. They're not staying at Kauffman Stadium. That's 99.99%. Okay, forget that. It's off the table. Kauffman Stadium is out. So if you're now thinking, well, maybe they'll just stay, that's out. That's out. Clay County's commissioner, Jason Withington, said they're done negotiating with the Royals, and it is, quote, a closed chapter, unquote, in Clay County history. The Royals are not interested in a vote. Clay County was proposing a vote in April. That's dead. There will be no Royals vote in Clay County in April. That's over. Kansas City, Missouri has no vote. You heard the mayor earlier today. Didn't sound great for Kansas City, Missouri and the Royals, although Union Station and the people around Crown Center have pushed hard, saying this would be a great place for the Royals. There is no reason to believe they can do that without a vote. The Royals will not accept a vote. That is their current stance. Everybody knows it. Everybody on both sides of the state line knows the Royals are not going back to the voters. They're not. So Jackson County is likely out on a vote, as they've told the same thing to Clay County. That leaves the one Missouri option for the Royals. The only Missouri option is Governor Kehoe in Jefferson City. There are options. Let me just give you an example of Clay County. I reported this a few months ago. There are funds in Jefferson City for communities of a certain size, and I want to say less than 50,000 citizens, but I'm not sure it's exactly right. But North Kansas City qualifies for this. And certain areas that are older qualify potentially even for federal dollars. as historic areas. There are small town state funds that North Kansas City could qualify for, and there are potentially historic federal funds to downtown North Kansas City there. It's got a big archway there. It says historic district since 1920 whatever. It's been there maybe longer than that. There could potentially be funds from those avenues. That's possible. But the Royals aren't voting. If Kehoe can cobble this thing together and say, I can get you more state money, not directly from the state, we're still doing the 50%, but there's this fund over here where I can find this money, and I maybe can get this from all of our federal, congressmen and senators in the state. They can help me get some historic funds to keep the Royals here. That's possible. That doesn't require a vote. Perhaps that's possible. That seems like drawing an inside straight to me. But I'm not ruling it out. I'm not telling you I know where the Royals are going. I'm not reporting today where they're going. But on this radio station is where I learned where the Royals were going, listening to Mundo in the Morning. It was December 18th. Ty Masterson was on Mundo in the Morning after they had put out a statement from his office that the Royals are fully committed to Kansas. That's what the statement said. Fully committed. That means 100%. Fully means 100%. The Royals are fully committed to Kansas, and they have fulfilled the obligation for the advanced timeline of December 31st. I want to repeat this because nobody's talking about this. Dan Hawkins is now taken over in Kansas, and I appreciate the guy. He's anti-tax. He's conservative. I appreciate the guy for what he is, but he's out of the loop on this. He's a blowhard, and he's saying they missed their deadline of December 31st. No, Ty Masterson, the Senate president in 2025, said on December 18th, the Royals are fully committed to Kansas and have fulfilled the obligation for the advanced timeline of December 31st. Now, the key word here is advanced timeline. The Chiefs obviously met the advanced timeline. Do the Chiefs have a deal in Kansas? Do they have a stadium site? Have they named it? They have not. They have, I think, 4 months to get the deal in order for approval and until June 30th to close the deal. The Royals, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you this right now. According to Ty Masterson, who is the leading candidate now likely for governor and was the president of the Senate last year, according to him, on the record, the Royals are fully committed to Kansas. They have fulfilled the obligation for the Star Bonds, and they are continuing to negotiate. But they're not doing it with Dan Hawkins. They're doing it with the Star Bond Committee people. And as Pete Mundo reported today, according to the Kansas City Star, these things can be done in privacy, secrecy, which Pete and I disagree on this. I have no problem with. I don't think you can do these deals without doing them privately. Did we know what the Chiefs were negotiating? Nope, not until the news conference. They did it privately. If you wanted to get public records, you could find memos that the politicians are talking to the Chiefs, but you can't get the minutes from the meeting. You can't get the details. Well, the state of Kansas would be crazy to allow sunshine laws to show Missouri or any other state in America everything they're doing in their negotiation with the Chiefs and Royals. Who would do that? Would Trump do that? Do you think if you did a Freedom of Information request right now of Trump, I want to know exactly how your oil deal went down on these 50 billion barrels and how the money's getting split up. You don't have the right to see that. You don't get that from your politicians. You know what you get the right to? Vote their ass out if you don't like them. That's what you get. These people can't do this in daylight. You can't negotiate deals in public. Even Mayor Q said that. We're not going to negotiate in public. He said it. I don't care what the sunshine laws are. The sunshine laws are in place to see what there is after the deal is done. And boy, there's been a lot of that now on the Chiefs, hasn't there? That whole document's out there. Everybody's carving it up, saying Kansas is a bunch of fools, all this and that. And that's fine. That's when you get to see it. You don't get to see things during negotiations. That's not how business works. What team would enter into an agreement with a state and say, yeah, we'll negotiate with you on this, and you just go public with all of it at any moment? No, nobody. So that doesn't bother me in the least. Ty Masterson is the only person on the record with a real statement of what's going on. The Royals are fully committed to Kansas, and they have fulfilled the obligation of the advanced timeline of December 31st. That is on the record. He came on with Pete Mundo. He tried to walk it back, and he said, well, that was a statement from the office from a staffer. We probably let that out a little too early, is what he said. But he didn't say it wasn't true. Ty Masterson didn't say, oh, that's not true. The statement we put out, he never said it wasn't true. He said, we probably put that out a little too early. Because he said at the time, it will not be resolved by December 31st. It's going into next year, and we are fully committed to the Royals coming to Kansas, and they're committed to us. Ladies and gentlemen, it can't be any cleaner than that. I am ready right now to bet Patrick Toohey on the air right now that the Royals and Chiefs are both in Kansas with new stadiums. Patrick, figure out what you want to wager. Let's go, buddy. I love you to death. I got this one. Everybody else, you want to sit it out? Sit it out. There's nobody's ever turned this kind of money down. The Star Bonds are not dead in Kansas. They are not dead in Kansas. When they put these stories out there, they're trying to alter the news for their own reasons. And people believe it. Trust me, the Star Bonds are not dead with the Royals. They did not let this expire on December 31st. That did not happen. Full stop, end quote, blah, 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 whatever the Democrats all say. I'm willing to wager anybody right now they're both in Kansas. I'm going with what Ty Masterson said on December 18th. And he said, well, yeah, that's true. We probably shouldn't have put that out so early. There you go. All right, we come back. Mark's going to join us. If you would like to comment on the stadium issue or the shooting, we probably have time for one call after the break. 913-408-7957. This is Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio. Earlier today on Mundo in the Morning, they had Ask Mundo Anything. Ask Mundo Anything is the segment they do. And a gentleman called in, was upset that KCMO Talk Radio is taking advertising from FanDuel, which I'm a big fan of. Mark's a big fan of. We all are. I've been betting on sports for longer than I can count, 30-some years. Yeah, it was illegal, but we bet with friends, found ways to do. I was not involved in some big gambling ring. It's never been a problem. I've never overbet. I've never been in financial trouble. I enjoy the action, the fun. It's no different than going to a casino and playing a hand of blackjack. It's a lot better to me than the odds of buying a Powerball or pulling a slot machine arm, so I'm all in on it. Sports is something I know a little bit about, so I really enjoy doing it. And he asked Mundo about this, and Mundo did a great job answering the question, but I just wanted to add one other thing. And I don't know this to be official policy of Cumulus Media here in Kansas City. It's been my observation as the host of this show. We did not take sports gambling ads until it was legal in Missouri, because then it was legal in both Kansas and Missouri. Okay? They went years of gambling in Kansas, turning down, I don't know how much money at Cumulus Media. It would have been in the millions. They turned down millions of dollars. Think about this. Cumulus Kansas City turned down millions of dollars of advertising they could have had just because it was legal in Kansas. But since it was illegal in Missouri, they didn't take it. And now what you don't hear on KCMO Talk Radio is ads for pot in Missouri because it's not legal in Kansas. Okay? So it's a real simple deal in advertising. If something's legal where you broadcast, there's no reason not to take the advertising. Okay? My choice to endorse them is on me, not Cumulus. Okay? I think these things are fun. I've always enjoyed doing it. I think personal responsibility is everything, and you've got to be responsible to not ruin your life by betting $25 on a Chiefs game. That's how I see it. Mark Van Sickle.
Yes.
Pushing the buttons today, keeping us just rolling right along. We have a big game tonight. FanDuel offering up some fun for the national championship semifinals in college football. We got a good one tonight. Ole Miss and Miami. What do you think of this game?
I think it's going to be a good one. I think Miami's getting the points here because of their defense and how they looked against Ohio State. But I think Ole Miss, being the higher-rated team, is a little bit underrated going into this game.
You like Ole Miss?
I kind of like Ole Miss at the plus money.
Do you feel like they're rolling on momentum since their coach left them?
I think there's a little bit of that. They have their offensive coordinator still who's pulling double duty. I think he's going to LSU at the end of this season. But, man, they've been looking good offensively. And Georgia has a good defense, and they still put up 37, 39, whatever the final score points was on them.
Yeah, love that. I will I don't generally just root for the random. Like, Ole Miss doesn't seem to me like the SEC blue blood or anything like that. So I like Ole Miss tonight. I'm going to root for them. I don't know what I'm going to play, but I don't like Miami. I just have never liked them, and they're a defensive team, and I just don't.
And Michael Irvin's over there on the sideline snorting coke and smacking things on the sideline.
Yeah, no fun at all. What did you think of Ole Mizzou last night, winning at Kentucky? The Missouri Tigers, it looked like when Illinois drilled them that they were in trouble this year. They just started the SEC by beating the national champion Florida and then winning at Kentucky. They're 2-0 and in first place in the SEC. What do you make of this, Mark?
That's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. I know Kentucky's a little down this year, but, I mean, winning at Kentucky is still a good win no matter what you think.
I love it. They finished the game on a 15-2 run last night. And if you haven't seen Mark Mitchell play and watch the Missouri Tigers, they showed me something because they played defense in the end. They shut Kentucky down, played great defense at the end. They were down 6 or 8 with like 4 minutes to go and finished the game on a 15-2 run to win the thing, man. I couldn't have been more impressed. Sports is how you finish the game. Not many games are like the K-State game last night where the team's just not any good and you get blown out by the number one team in the country. Most games come down to what do you do in the last few minutes. We saw it with KU 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. And it doesn't really matter the sport. You know, baseball's that way too.
KU football, the last 2 minutes, they always lose.
Yeah, it's been a constant problem. Yeah, no question. How about this? The big game of the weekend is the Bears-Packers in the NFL. It's Saturday night. It's on Amazon Prime. We talked about that yesterday. Cole Kmet is a tight end for the Bears. He has a sister named Frankie. This is complicated, so let me set this up. Cole Kmet's sister, Frankie, became famous when her boyfriend, Lucas Van Ness, was drafted a couple of years ago. She was sitting next to him on the couch on draft night, and he gets drafted by the Packers, who the Bears are playing Saturday night. We'll get to that in a moment. And they hug each other and everything else. And then the girl, Frankie, who's hot, she's train smoke hot, right? She gets up, and she goes to hug the dad of her boyfriend, who just got drafted by the Packers, and the dad grabs her ass. There's just no other way to say it. He just pats her around and is like, I'm copping a feel here. It was really ridiculous, but it was this unbelievable draft night story. Well, Frankie's brother, Cole, plays for the Bears. Frankie's boyfriend, Lucas, plays for the Packers, and she's rooting for boyfriend over brother. What do you think of that, Mark Van Sickle?
If I was the brother, that would hurt me. It would. It would hurt my feelings, but I would understand it. If that makes sense. The brother got her tickets to the game. If that's the case, she's got to cheer. She got to at least wear a Bears hat.
I mean, doesn't she need to wear one of those jerseys that's half and half?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Now, she wants the ring from Lucas. I get that. So there's a financial part to this thing that's real.
Oh, yeah.
She needs the split jersey. We'll watch for that on Saturday night. We're just going to end with fun, folks. The world's full of serious stuff. I'm sure Vince is going to be all over this story in Minneapolis next, right here on KCMO Talk Radio.